Have you ever wondered why Japan has more people over 100 than anywhere else on Earth? What if I told you their secret to longevity isn't a pill, a diet, or an expensive gym, but a 3-minute morning ritual practiced by over 27 million people every single day? Think about that. Every morning at exactly 6:30 a.m., while the rest of the world is just waking up, millions of Japanese seniors are already moving in perfect rhythm, following a simple broadcast that has quietly reshaped the nation's health for nearly a century. But here's the warning: the rest of the world is falling behind. Right now, more than 38% of Americans over 60 struggle with muscle loss, joint pain, or balance decline that makes even climbing stairs a challenge. Doctors call it sarcopenia. The Japanese call it a preventable tragedy. And yet the solution takes less time than brushing your teeth. Just 3 minutes a day, no gym, no equipment, no pain. A daily practice that's turning back the clock on aging, rebuilding mobility, and reigniting energy at any age. So if you've been feeling slower lately, if you've noticed that getting out of a chair takes a little more effort than it used to, don't scroll away. Because what you're about to discover isn't just another fitness trend. It's the same habit that helped Japan rise from one of the world's shortest-lived nations to the longest living on record. But to understand why this simple morning movement matters so much, we have to go back nearly 100 years to a time when Japan was fighting for its very survival. In the 1920s, the country faced a silent crisis. Average life expectancy was barely 42 for men and 43 for women. Factories were booming, cities were growing, but people were dying too young. Families were losing parents in their 40s, and children were growing up without guidance. It wasn't a war that was killing them. It was the slow decay of the body, the collapse of national health. Insurance companies panicked because they couldn't keep up with the number of early deaths. The government realized that if something didn't change soon, Japan's economy and future would both crumble. And then came a turning point. A group of officials from the Postal Life Insurance Bureau traveled to the United States to study how Americans manage their health policies. There in New York City, they stumbled upon a fascinating discovery. The Metropolitan Life Insurance Company was broadcasting short exercise routines on the radio to help people stay active and reduce medical claims. It was revolutionary, a fitness class through sound waves. Those Japanese officials returned home inspired by a single question: what if an entire nation could move together? No fancy machines, no gyms, just the rhythm of a broadcast, the unity of a shared routine, and the power of consistency. And in 1928, Japan did something no other country had ever done before. They launched the first national health exercise program, broadcasting it across the airwaves so millions could move in sync from their own homes. It was the birth of a movement that would change the destiny of a nation. When that first broadcast hit the airwaves in 1928, something extraordinary happened. Across Japan, families stopped what they were doing, stepped outside, and followed the voice on the radio, guiding them through gentle stretches and coordinated movements. For the first time, an entire nation was breathing and moving as one. You could walk through any neighborhood at sunrise and hear the same melody echoing between rooftops. Soft piano tones mixed with the sound of feet shuffling on wooden floors. It was unity through motion, and it felt like healing. But Japan didn't stop there. As decades passed, the program evolved. By 1951, the original broadcast had been restructured into what's now known as Radio Taiso 2, with movements refined by physiologists and sports scientists. These routines weren't random calisthenics. They were precisely engineered to restore mobility, posture, and circulation in the very building blocks of longevity. The government took it seriously. They invested in training instructors, standardizing routines and broadcasting them on national radio and later television, so that no matter where you live, from Hokkaido's snowy fields to the beaches of Okinawa, you could join in at exactly 6:30 a.m. Schools, offices, and factories adopted it as part of their daily schedule. Even soldiers in remote bases started their mornings with those same familiar notes. By the late 1990s, Radio Taiso had become a pillar of Japanese culture in public health, practiced by tens of millions every single morning. And in 1999, Japan unveiled a new version called Exercise for Everyone, designed with universal accessibility so that even those in wheelchairs or with limited mobility could participate. It was no longer just a fitness routine. It became a national ritual, a way for grandparents, parents, and children to share 3 mindful minutes that connected generations. And here's the beautiful truth: while most of the world was still searching for complicated answers to healthy aging, Japan had quietly built its secret weapon, a daily 3-minute formula for movement, connection, and long life. By the turn of the century, Radio Taiso had grown into something far bigger than anyone had imagined. Every morning at exactly 6:30 a.m., the national broadcaster, NHK, transmitted the same familiar music across Japan. In parks, rooftops, schools, and factories, millions of people stood side by side, ready to move. What began as a government experiment had become a daily heartbeat of the nation. To understand the scale of it, imagine this: 27 million Japanese citizens, nearly 1 in 5 of the population, starting their day with the same 3-minute routine. That's roughly the entire population of Texas, all moving in perfect unison. There are over 24,000 certified instructors operating from more than 2,000 community bases nationwide, ensuring that even the most remote towns never miss a morning. It's not just a workout, it's infrastructure, a national health system built on motion, not medication. And science proves why it works. Researchers have found that the 13 movements of Radio Taiso activate every major plane of motion: forward, backward, side to side, and rotation, creating a complete full-body stimulus in only a few minutes. The sequence warms up the joints, improves balance, enhances flexibility, and ends with deep breathing that resets the nervous system. In essence, it teaches the body to remember how to move naturally again. Even more impressive, modern studies confirm measurable benefits. In 2024, a 12-week study followed frail seniors practicing Radio Taiso daily at home. The results were astonishing: agility and balance improved dramatically, aerobic endurance increased, and participants reported better mood and confidence. 94% stuck with the program, something unheard of in the fitness world. For experts in senior health and longevity, this level of consistency is gold. It means Radio Taiso isn't just effective, it's sustainable. Because the real power of this Japanese exercise lies in its simplicity: 3 minutes, 0 equipment, and a lifetime of return. What makes Radio Taiso truly extraordinary isn't just the science, it's the spirit behind it. Every morning when the music begins to play, the lines between generations disappear. Children stretch beside grandparents, office workers bow next to retirees, and strangers move as one living organism. For those 3 minutes, Japan becomes a breathing, moving community. And that connection, that shared ritual, may be the most powerful medicine of all. In a world where loneliness has quietly become one of the deadliest conditions for older adults, this daily rhythm does something remarkable. It keeps people seen, connected, and alive inside. Studies have shown that social interaction can extend life expectancy by years, and Radio Taiso is essentially movement wrapped in human contact. It's not just about staying fit, it's about staying part of something bigger than yourself. If you walk through a Tokyo park at dawn, you'll see an elderly man in a baseball cap leading the group with gentle precision, his movements slow but proud. You'll hear laughter when someone misses a step, and applause when the final bow comes. And then, as the music fades, the entire crowd claps together in perfect sync, a sound of gratitude, of resilience, of another morning survived. One woman in Okinawa once said, "It's not the exercise that keeps me alive, it's the people I meet while doing it." That sentence captures the essence of healthy aging in its purest form. Because longevity isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. And maybe that's what the rest of the world has forgotten, that health isn't only built in hospitals or gyms. Sometimes it's built in a quiet park at sunrise, where neighbors share 3 simple minutes that keep them young, hopeful, and human. When you think about it, Radio Taiso isn't really about exercise, it's about remembering how to live. Every morning at 6:30, as the music floats through the streets, millions of people lift their arms to the same sky. They move not to burn calories, but to greet the day, to say, "I'm still here." It's a quiet revolution against time itself, one breath, one stretch, one heartbeat at a time. What if we tried that? Not as a trend, not as a challenge, but as a simple promise to ourselves to move, to breathe, to stay connected. Because here in the United States, where so many of us start our mornings scrolling through bad news and drinking coffee in silence, maybe what we're missing isn't motivation, it's ritual. A moment to pause and move together, to reclaim ownership of our bodies before the day takes it away. Health isn't built in hospitals or through quick fixes. It's built in habits and consistency and showing up even for 3 minutes a day. And that's the beauty of this Japanese longevity secret. It asks for almost nothing, yet gives back everything: mobility, clarity, connection, and peace. Tomorrow morning when the clock hits 6:30, imagine yourself joining them. You don't need to be in Tokyo or Okinawa. You just need a small space, a few deep breaths, and the willingness to start. 3 minutes, 13 movements, one decision to live better, longer, and stronger. So here's your challenge: try it tomorrow. Then try it again the next day. Notice how your body feels, how your energy changes, how your mornings become calmer. And when it does, share your story, tell someone you love. Because the world doesn't need another fitness fad. It needs people like you reclaiming health the way Japan did, through small, meaningful movement. If this inspired you, hit subscribe. There's more to come. More stories, more proof that longevity isn't luck, it's lifestyle. Drop the word routine in the comments and I'll send you a free visual guide to the full Radio Taiso sequence, 13 movements designed to awaken your body in just 3 minutes. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll have our own 6:30 ritual here, a moment when millions of Americans rise together, not just to move, but to remember how powerful 3 minutes can be. So let's bring this full circle. What started as a small broadcast in 1928 has quietly become one of the most successful public health movements in human history. A 3-minute ritual that rebuilt an entire nation's strength, extended its lifespan, and inspired generations to move together. Proof that longevity isn't about luck, it's about consistency. Think about it: over 27 million people still gather each morning, united by the same melody, the same breath, the same intention to take ownership of their health before the day even begins. That's not coincidence. That's culture. That's discipline. And it's something every one of us can learn from. We don't need to move mountains to change our health. We just need to move our bodies a little every day. 3 minutes may not seem like much, but those 3 minutes can be the difference between stiffness and freedom, between fatigue and vitality, between merely aging and truly living. Here's what I want you to remember. Your body remembers motion. It's waiting for you to remind it. You don't have to be in Japan to start. You can begin right where you are. And most importantly, the best time to start wasn't years ago. It's tomorrow morning. At 6:30 a.m., when millions of people across Japan begin their Radio Taiso, imagine joining them right from your living room, your porch, or your backyard. 3 minutes, 13 movements. One promise to yourself: I'm not done growing stronger. If this story moved, you don't let it fade. Share it with someone who needs hope, who's been struggling to stay active, or who simply needs a reason to start again. Because health spreads faster when it's shared. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next story, where we'll uncover how Okinawa's morning rituals protect the world's longest living people and what lessons they hold for you. Drop the word routine in the comments and I'll send you your free 3-minute guide to the complete Radio Taiso system. Remember, aging is inevitable, but decline is optional. So tomorrow when the music starts, stand tall, lift your arms, and take back those 3 minutes. Because longevity isn't found in years lived, it's found in how fully you live each morning.